Hey guys, Harrison101 back at it once again with a brand new video for you, and welcome back to Dre Talks. So I haven't done one of these in a long time. Consider this maybe season 2 of Dre Talks or whatever. And it's a series, if there's guys who might be new, it's a series where I basically talk about things that may not necessarily be sporting related, featuring games I don't normally play or show on this channel. Don't know what the video is going to be for this one yet because I'm recording a commentary first again for this one, and you know it's the reverse process to what I normally do. I normally film the gameplay first, then talk over it. In this case, I'm doing the opposite. Whatever. In the meantime, I wanted to talk about the community again. This episode is called State of the Community 2 because I've done this before. I've made a video talking about the F1 community at large and talking about certain aspects of it, and a lot has changed in that since the last one, and you know the F1 community landscape has most definitely changed, and I want to address a couple of situations regarding me, my channel, my future, the community as a whole, and another certain situation which I'm very disappointed to hear about as well, which I'll address later in the video. But first of all, I want to say, I want to talk about a YouTube friend of mine. I'm sure you may have heard of him. His name is Athleek VG. I'm sure many of you guys know who he is. I'm sure probably most of you watching know who he is. First of all, I want to say I wish him all the very best in the future. And I said this on my Facebook page, I'm going to say it here too. I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I'm a big fan of some of the older episodes as well. And there was a famous story, trust me, this is going somewhere, called Attack of the Cybermen, where one of the main characters, it turns out, is evil, but ends up having quite a good heart instead. And the Doctor famously says at the end of the episode, "I don't think I've ever misjudged someone quite as badly as I did Lytton." And Lytton was the character in the episode, basically. And I felt similar to that situation with me and Athleek VG. And I'll be honest, I've not been the kindest person when it comes to Athleek VG in this community in the past. And I must admit, that was wrong of me as a person to do that. I was judging somebody on their beliefs and mentalities before I really got to know them, know the logic behind what they were doing, get to know them more as a person. And, you know, I'm sure Athleek would agree with me this if he was watching, that he's not the most open person in the world out there, and you know he's okay with that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong in that, and there was nothing wrong in his approaches and his mentality to YouTube as well. And I got to know him more closely as a friend a couple of months ago. A lot of people don't know this until I said it publicly about a week and a half ago or so, and that basically, when Mickey Motions started to attack my channel, basically, Athleek reached out to me, mainly because he'd been there before, because Athleek and Mickey Motions had dramas before. In case you're not sure what happened there, you may want to go back and see episode 1 of Dre Talks. But the meaning is this: he actually reached out to me during that situation to say, look, okay, here's what happened, this is the situation at large, blah blah blah, you know, here's what I think you should do. And you know, he followed me on Twitter, we gave each other information, and you know, he supported me through what was quite a difficult time where I was getting it from a lot of Mickey Motion supporters and fans, and you know, a lot of video dislikes and just a lot of general stress. I was finishing my first year of uni at the time as well, and it was all coming to this, you know, big ass cataclysm basically. Managed to get through it though, and a lot of people don't know this, but I owe Athleek a lot. And you know, he came on my show, Around the Corner. It's still the most watched episode of Around the Corner ever. Over 2,000 of you have watched it, which is incredible numbers for a video that's nearly 2 hours long in length. So for 2,000 of you to find it, watch it, comment, support it, you know, that's incredible. And you know, over 100 of you subscribed because of Athleek being on the show, and I'm so grateful for that because you guys were so supportive in that. And I owe a lot to Athleek, and he is a very nice guy. He's a very intelligent, class act. He's a proper Anglophile. He's really up on his British culture. Just a very smart, very intelligent, well-spoken, good dude. And you know, I watched his Sailing Off into the Sunset video, and that I got emotional watching it, because I've thought about it before. I've thought about leaving YouTube before, and I know for a fact it's not an easy thing to talk about, contemplate, or think about, especially when you're in Athleek situation, when you're extremely popular, you stand out from the crowd because of the fact you're American. That's a niche, because there's not many F1 fans from America, for example. It's definitely more of a niche out there than it is over here in Europe, for example. And you know, he had 17,000 plus subscribers. He was a guy that was the second biggest channel in this community, and I can't even begin to imagine how hard it must have been for him to walk away from something like that, because I'm sure he was probably living off the money he was making when he was making videos full time. Because I know what kind of money I was on when I had like 1,500 subscribers and getting about 100,000 views a month. He was probably getting more, and he was probably doing a terrific job with it. So, Athleek, if you're watching, all the best, my friend. All the best in the future. I know you want to be an F1 doctor one day, and I have no doubt in my mind that if you put your mind to it and you work hard, there's no reason why you can't get there. So good luck, Athleek. All the best. You know, this community as well, I've always said it, like, I've always spoken about it before. Like, when I was playing F1 2011 a lot in my early days, playing career mode and whatnot, and, you know, making that the backbone of my channel, where it is today, I spoke a lot about how I didn't want the community in Formula 1 to be like the FIFA community, or like the Call of Duty community. Where, you know, for example, the FIFA community is headlined by one dominant guy, KSI GWT, a guy who's got nearly 3 million subscribers now. And back then, when I first started talking about this, he had like 600,000. Yeah, his channel has skyrocketed. He's now a super elite channel on YouTube now, where there's only about 15, 20 channels that are bigger than him, which aren't music video accounts, basically. And I didn't want the F1 community to turn into that, and I'm glad it isn't, because we had Athleek. I know he's gone, but if anything, that paves the way for other people, which is another reason why I think the F1 community should be very grateful towards Athleek. Because in his absence, we should all get stronger as a result, because those viewers will find someone else to watch, I'm sure. I don't mean that as an insult towards him, obviously. I just mean that in terms of just natural deviation. But you know, I'm proud to see some of my friends get up there now. Like I see Alex Armageddon with over 8,000. I see TM Marduk with over 5,000, and I'm dying to work with TM Marduk and get him on a show, because he is such a cool Australian dude. Arab's over 1,200. I know the F1 Racing Mad's over 600, and you know, there's Alex Gillen over 5,000, etc., etc. These are all good people, and they are all, you know, the backbones of people. And you know, I've been fortunate enough to work with, you know, almost everyone in the Formula 1 community. There's only a couple of guys I haven't really had a chance to work with yet in some capacity, and you know, there's a whole heap of guys now that have four-digit channel numbers now, and you know, very solid subscriber bases. Ryan L83 is someone I'm very proud of as well. He now has over 2,000. He approached me when he started his channel, saying, you know, Dre, is there anything I can do? You know, any advice? I can. He looked to me for advice, and now his channel's got over 2,000 subscribers. I'm so proud of him, and he's one of the nicest guys on YouTube as well. Like, he wouldn't hurt a fly, and he's just one of those really, really great guys. Arab's a really great guy. Even the guys who are smaller, you know, but they add so much. I mean, look at Liam Jenkins and Scott Woodwis, who are both amazing commentators in their own right. They may not have, you know, massive YouTube followings and all that, but you see that and hear them everywhere, and they do such a tremendous job, and that in itself is amazing. And you know, I've had the pleasure to work with so many guys, and this community is a wonderful, wonderful community in the whole. And I know I'm not the biggest guy. I'm not a top 5 guy like I used to be. You know, through various reasons. I mean, my videos aren't exactly YouTube friendly. They're not, you know, short and sweet. They're longer videos. The people who watch are very dedicated, and for that I'm eternally grateful. My videos aren't exactly YouTube friendly sometimes. I know that for a fact. I know for a fact that, you know, other guys get certain opportunities like pole position and whatnot, and you know, the recent Codemasters F1 2013 reveal, which, you know, a lot of guys got coverage of. You know, guys like Game Riot, Alex Gillen, Alex the Afro, Into the Barrier. You know, good for them. I'm glad I'm glad Codemasters are integrating more of this community as well, because that's going to be great for everybody. I've had a community spotlight from them before as well for my team review series from the end of last year. So I'm fortunate enough to be a part of that as well. And you know, I'm not the most devoted Formula 1 guy anymore, but I am definitely going to start that up again when 2013 comes out later this year. But overall, it's fantastic to see the vision I had of seeing all these guys come up together and start having these bigger channels and start, you know, paving their own way in the community and being able to have proper, dedicated, hardcore audiences that will watch them. It's wonderful to see, and I'm very, very proud to be a part of that. And I'm very, very proud to have the fans I have and the people who support me. You know, all the guys I've mentioned are wonderful people to work with. I consider them friends. I would go out and have a beer with them right now if I had the opportunity. I'm sure I'm going to bump into all of them at Eurogamer in September. They're all quality dudes, and I wouldn't trade them in for anybody. And you know, obviously, all of you fans out there and the viewers who watch me, and you know, that you guys inspire me as well. And I take great pride that I'm able to work with so many brilliant people. Even those that are bigger than me. Of course, you know, I'm a little bit jealous. You know, who doesn't want to be bigger on YouTube and whatnot? But, you know, the people who are, you know, kicking ass right now and taking names in this community totally deserve it. And it couldn't happen to better people. So, you know, it's humbling for one. And it's also good to see that, you know, genuinely good guys end up being more successful. Because that you know, if the community gets bigger, we all get bigger, and it's great for everybody. There's no loser in this situation. My future is going to be interesting because, you know, my channel hasn't had any major growth since Formula 1 2011 stopped existing. The good news is 2013 comes out the same day for everybody, so we're all going to jump on that, and we're all going to make videos of it in a crazy mad hurry. So hopefully we'll all grow again, and then we'll all have a, you know, another you know, massive burst of support and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, I'm sure the future will only be brighter for this community. However, there is one problem I had with this community right now, and I don't like mentioning this on video, but I feel like I have to get this out there, because I don't like it when people try to put my name through the mud, like what Mickey Motions did earlier this year, which I wasn't very keen on. And unfortunately, he's indirectly linked to this one too. But basically, there's this guy called Alex Armageddon who has been making some negative waves amongst the community. For some of his actions recently, including me, which I wasn't very fond of. So I thought, let me get this out there, because I don't like it when people are judgmental, and I want to get this out of the way, you know, and move forward with this before it blows up any bigger than what it needs to. Because I'm sure the people who are watching this video are intelligent enough and have probably already come to their own conclusions. But here's the situation. Basically, I've got to give a massive shout out to Arav here as well, because he gave me all the info I needed to make this happen. It turns out Armageddon was part of a little crew of guys who did Google Hangouts together when they were racing. You know, whether it was you know, Formula 1, IGP, iRacing, etc., etc. Those kind of games. And basically, Alex was in there, but apparently he gathered a reputation for being quite a dirty driver, ticking people off, basically, causing people problems, etc., etc. And what he also did was he was dragging people through the mud, which I also, you know, didn't really appreciate either. I'm just looking through the direct messages right now that he said, and basically, in a race, basically, Alex held up Arav, tried smashing him into walls, being really regressive in a race. Then he made a video about it. He took it public, made a video, tried to drag Arav's name into it, basically by saying it was his fault, he was a dirty driver, which I know he is not. And I'm pretty sure most people would back me up in this by saying he's not a dirty driver at all. And basically, people jumped onto it, you know, people started disliking the video. You know, people who, you know, have common sense started disliking the video. He took it down, you know, put another one up, you know, accused Arav of doing the disliking, and then he was also really, really arrogant about the situation. Clearly, Alex Armageddon is a guy who clearly thinks his shit doesn't stink, which is, you know, something that's so far-fetched in this fucking community, where everyone is really meant to be really humble, gracious, good people, and there's this little fucker in the corner here, basically saying, oh, you know, this guy's dirty, and, you know, I have a bigger channel than this guy, and I'm like, dude, look at the numbers. It's not even an insult, it's a fact. Arav has worked so hard to get to where he is today. He has over 1,200 subscribers. You didn't even have 100. And you feel you have the right to go around and barking at people? And I remember on Twitter, like a couple of nights ago, he basically tweeted me saying, oh, yeah, have you got any advice here? I'm getting you know, abuse, a lot of dislikes. Because I didn't know the full situation, I didn't know about the whole racing clubs and the incidents that had gone on, I took it innocently because he was a fan of my work. He's tweeted me before in the past. And yeah, he was threatening basically to leave the F1 community, which is interesting. So I, you know, well, I was sincere with him, said, you know, okay, you know, try and shrug it off, keep doing what you do, keep making good content. You've clearly got people who do want to watch you because you have like nearly 100 subscribers. Just keep doing what you do, just brush it off, and I'm sure if your videos are that good, people will keep coming back anyway. He didn't take that advice. He ended up leaving the F1 community the next day. And then he basically, after yesterday, started dragging all his friends into it because one of his friends on Twitter followed me, some girl called Joe, I think it was. And, you know, basically he started dragging all his friends into it, saying, oh, Dre, join my Skype call, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up blocking him because, one, I'd heard the story about what he was doing, trying to drag Arav's name through the mud. And also he was bombing my mentions. Like, my phone would not stop going off, so I blocked him to you know, cut the cord, sever all that shit basically, and moved on. So basically, it turns out that after most of the guys he was racing with just knocked him back and rejected him and whatnot, basically for being a bit of an idiot, he ran off to me trying to protect and help him and whatnot. And then when after I brushed him off, he clearly went on Twitter, called me a backstabbing little see you next Tuesday, you know, that four-letter word, basically. He was indirectly said at me because I blocked him, basically. He didn't know how I offended him, and then he ran off to Mickey Motions. Well, Mickey Motions clearly embraced him. I can see why he would. I mean, Mickey Motions needs all the fans he can get these days because, let's be real here, no one has made a bigger effort to piss people off and alienate themselves in the community and be a conspiracy theorist and just cause a whole heap of unnecessary drama and bad feelings amongst his community than he has. So you know what? Fine. I don't blame Mickey for doing that. He's got no reason to knock Alex back. He's not done anything to hurt him. And, you know, in all fairness, Mickey's just, you know, interacting with his fans. I don't know what's going on in his channel because, you know, all this, you know, his Twitter account right now is like a walking parody of himself. It's like some of his, like, fans have, you know, created, like, family Twitter accounts. Like, oh, Mickey Motion's dad, Mickey Motion's brother, Mickey Motion's wife, Mickey Motion's sperm. And I'm like, why is it that every silly bit of shit in this community has to be linked with Mickey Motions in some way? And in this case, it's happened again now, where basically Alex is taking it upon himself to take, you know, further opportunities to basically, again, drag Arrow's name in the mud. You know, drag my name into it by saying, oh, I don't know what's happened. I've pissed off Harrison. The community's mad at me because I pissed off Harrison 101 HD. Alex, if you're watching, which I hope you are, the community isn't mad at you for ticking me off. The community's mad at you because you're an arsehole. Let me make one thing clear here, yeah? Your channel is not bigger than anybody else's in this community, especially those of the people you race with and are clearly giving people a hard time over, okay? Get your head out of Mickey Motion's arse. Give yourself some dignity, please. And seriously, stop trying to act like you're all high and mighty and above this community. Because this community is wonderful. and it's surrounded by brilliant people. And quite frankly, it's probably a good thing you left, because I know for a fact there are 24 better people than you out there. Oh, and while you're at it, please learn to drive properly. Seriously, it's so irritating hearing, you know, leagues take you on, then drop out and quit because you can't win, and that you have to take out other people in order to try and get ahead of the game. Seriously, that's what 6-year-old noobs do when they pick up this game. It's so irritating and it's pathetic, and I've had enough of it. And on behalf of people in this community, the good people in this community, leave us alone. Stop dragging our names through the mud. And if your videos were that great, people would keep subscribing to you, and you wouldn't feel the need to turn your back on us just because things aren't going your way. That's all I've got to say on the situation, quite frankly. And I don't normally like to insult people directly on a video like this, and I know normally I'm better than this, but I can't stand it when people are judgmental over me, because heavens forbid you take no responsibility for your negative actions. That is the worst kind of people, and I hate when people do that. And you drag my name into it, you drag Arav's name into it, you drag people like Cal into it, Boss199, whatever his number is on the end of his username, you know, Bam It's Jesus, all those good people, and you're tainting their names, and we don't need that as people. This community is better than that, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and I will defend it until my final video if I have to. That's all I got to say. I've been Harrison101. I hope you appreciate the video, and hope you appreciate where I'm coming from. And, you know, if you support me in any way, please leave this video a like. I appreciate all the positive feedback and support. You guys give me the confidence to be able to speak on these issues, because I want to be as good a representative for this community as possible. And I don't like it when I see my friends stressed and angered and worried over one little kid's pathetic actions. That's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.